How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna do our weekly read list, comic books that I've read. I don't know what the perfect name is, but we do the weekly update on that. We went through a lot of comic books this week. Some of them are digital, and then some of them are actual physical copies. So we'll go over that soon, but first we're gonna do the digital ones first. I'm gonna go with my least favorite to start off the bat, just kind of get that one out of the way, and then we'll go to the good ones, or at least the ones I think that are good. So one of the first series I read was the New Mutants Lethal Legion, issues 1 through 5. It's part of the Krakoa era, part of the last New Mutants series. This one, it was all right. I wasn't the biggest fan on it. It's about a mutant who's a trans mutant, so she already went through trouble times with being a mutant, and then trouble times being a trans. So it's about her. It's the main focus. She helps with some of her other New Mutants colleagues. New Mutants is a series of people. The characters aren't bad. The characters are pretty cool. It's just the story. This one, you didn't really need this arc part of the Krakoa series. There's no real good point of it, and it was kind of boring towards the end. In the beginning, towards the end it got a little better, but mainly in the beginning it was kind of boring. So if I had to rate it, it's maybe a 3 out of 5. I get it's part of the Krakoa series, and if you like the New Mutant series, then maybe you like it. I only like the New Mutants in the beginning of the series of Krakoa, but after a while, so maybe the first 10 series, it was amazing, and then slowly it got boring, and I just kind of didn't like it further on. But if you like the New Moon series, you should read it. If you're trying to read the whole Krakoa series, I mean, of course you got to read it too, because it might have some stuff later on that was involved, but wasn't my favorite read. All right, the rest of the stuff that I'm about to go over, I really enjoyed. One of them was the Ghost Rider / Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance paperback. It's 4 issues. In this one, Wolverine and Ghost Rider team up together to face an old enemy. It goes back to the backstory of why it's an old enemy and how Ghost Rider and Wolverine meet, and it goes all the way towards the end to where what happens with the enemy, if they defeat them or not. Okay, stuff like that. I recommend this one. Crazy. It was really good. If you're a fan of Ghost Rider or Wolverine or both, I recommend it 100%. If you're more familiar with one or the other, it introduces the other, Wolverine. If you're more familiar with Wolverine, it introduces Ghost Rider really well. If you know Ghost Rider and you don't know much about Wolverine, it introduces Wolverine pretty well. But them colliding and doing this, 4-issue arc was really good. It's during the Krakoa series, but was nothing to really do with Krakoa at all. So you can read this without having to read any of the other stuff. This one I recommend, 5 out of 5. I think it was one of the best, Wolverine issues that I read so far. Like I said, it's a mashup with Ghost Rider, so definitely recommend it. Now, continue with the Krakoa series. Another issue I read was Deadpool Volume 1, and it includes issues 1 through 5. Now, this is during the Krakoa series. If you've been reading any of the X-Force or some of the Wolverine issues from Krakoa up to this point, you see Deadpool here and there. And the main thing, Deadpool is trying to join the X-Force team. That's his main goal when he's on Krakoa. These issues take place of what is he doing when he's not trying to be on Krakoa and not trying to join X-Force. This is what he's trying to do on his real job and side stuff that he does. Again, it was a really great series. Like I said, it kind of spins off to Krakoa, and they mention Krakoa. That's why it's in there. But issues 1 through 5, he's his own little thing. He's trying to join a assassin group, and he gets assigned a mission to try to prove himself to be able to join it. Things kind of go haywire. So issues 1 through 5 is explaining him doing the mission, and then what happened with the missions, and then more trouble afterwards. I definitely recommend it. If you're a Deadpool fan, it's a good one. It kind of sets up for the modern Deadpool, which we'll go over a little bit later, but it's a real good series. I definitely recommend it, 5 out of 5. Now we're going to go to the physical copies that I have that I've read. Starting off, continuing also at the same time with Deadpool. Like I was just saying, it's going to be Deadpool. I read issues number 5 and 6. Let's see if I can get a little close up. We'll just do individual. Issue 5 was really good. Oh my God, my glare is horrible. If I go back, does it? Okay, you can't get real good, clear, close up to it, but that's the cover right there. Issue number 5 is really good. They just finished, so there's gonna be a little bit of spoilers. So in this, Deadpool is trying to, again, at the same time, after Krakoa, it seems like he's trying to just do his own thing. He made a like a company, I guess you could say, of assassins, or he's starting to base off of it. In the series, he has a daughter, 2 daughters technically. He has one that's a symbiote dog that grew out of him, which is part of Deadpool Volume 1 and 2. That's going to be part of the Kokoro series, so that's the start of it. So this is continuing from there on his own little thing. And he has a real daughter, and apparently she has abilities just like Deadpool with the healing factor and can kind of fight. I guess she taught herself how to fight, so that's really good. So in this series, they're facing a wizard type of person who's trying to steal like life and abilities from Deadpool. In that one, she came and helped him even though she wasn't supposed to, and it was a good story arc. It was fantastic. I definitely recommend this series overall in Deadpool. Deadpool 1 and 2 issues were kind of slow for me. I wasn't really into it, but it definitely picked up. So if you're having that issue with Deadpool issue 1 and 2, I recommend keep going because it gets a lot better. So the current issues that I read, 5, I rate that one 5 out of 5. Number 6, issue 6, they just finished defeating that wizard person, and they are moving on and trying to do his side jobs. He finally came to the fact that his daughter's going to be there and be part of the team, so he helps train her, or has Taskmaster, who's also involved, train her, and then they go on a mission. But then that mission gets a little sketchy, but it comes out great. But while this is happening, Deadpool's back at the office, because in previous issue 5, as you can see, his body got dismembered, so he is just trying to heal. But something happens while what's going on. I don't want to spoil it if you're interested in reading it. But it gets crazy because of that. I can't wait for issue number 7. It's going to continue from what the cliffhanger was. I'm excited. This one I'm going to rate 5 out of 5. So it seemed like this was kind of a Deadpool weekend. I'm trying to get through, a little small break from Krakoa. I did read a bunch of Krakoa stuff. So while I was doing that, I got up with some of the series that I've been holding off on. One of them is called Deadpool Team Up. I have issue 1 right here. Got that one. The artwork's amazing. But not only that, I read issue number 2. You're probably like, that's the same one. Nah, they're pretty close on the artwork, but 2 different issues. So issue 1 and 2, read these. This is really good. You get a bunch of different kind of Marvel characters meeting up and teaming up, as you can see. In the first issue, you get Deadpool, Marvel, and another person from another world. The main story of this is that he is on a mission for another assassin group. He's always with the assassins. He owes them a big debt, so they said do this and we'll forgive you. So he's trying to go do something, and it's actually bigger than they thought. It's involving other people from other planets and other dimensions and worlds and stuff like that. So that gets involved, and then because of that, he teams up with some people, and some of them is Wolverine and other people he's meeting into. The Hulk is on the cover on both of these, but they haven't met the Hulk yet. But I definitely recommend these series. If you're a big fan of Marvel, you get a couple of main Marvel characters that teams up with Deadpool. So it's kind of a cool little mix-up that they did for both of these series, because I read both of them. I'm going to rate them together. 1 and 5, I think we're both 4.5 out of 5. Not a perfect score, just because there's some characters in there that I'm not sure how they're going to relate to it. But, I mean, it's nearly a perfect 5. The only reason there's also a 4.5 because, like I said, in both of these covers, the Hulk is on there. You don't see the Hulk at all. So I'm hoping you meet the Hulk in a later series. So not sure why he's in there because of that. I gave it a 4.5, but yet again, it's nearly perfect. 5 out of 5. Another new issues. If you see my previous video on my comic book pickup, comic book that came out was called Lilith. This one is a independent comic, indie comic is what they call it. First one of the series that I've had and never had read one before, so I got it recommended by the gentleman that I go to my comic book store the one I go to, and he recommended it. I said, why not? Kind of mix it up again, take a little break from the Kokoro era, because that's the ones I'm really pushing in on my reading. It was really good. It's not something I normally would have read, say if it wasn't recommended, and I trust this guy and he knows what I kind of like, and he thought it was a cool little story just to try it out. It's not bad. It's about a vampire supermodel who's stuck in this world because I guess she's from another world, without kind of giving too much spoilers. She's from another world and she's just trying to survive and possibly find a way back. Secretly she's a vampire, nobody knows it, and until people have to find out in a weird way. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but she's stuck in this world, so she's trying to survive. And then she kind of meets a person towards the end that's gonna hopefully help her out without her realizing, to get her back to where she's trying to go to. So it's a good story. I recommend it if you guys like indies or vampire kind of stories. With that, because I'm not like super die hard on it, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. It wasn't a bad story, something I'm not normally into, but I'm gonna keep reading it because it did get, it's a little interesting, so I can kind of get where people like it. And with that, I know so far they already promised four issues, so this is number 1. So I'm gonna get the rest to kind of just to keep the story going, kind of mix it up from the Marvel and superhero stuff that I'm reading. Again, this one I recommend to try it out if you're into vampires or the indie kind of stuff. There is a little bit, a very small, like I guess nudity, but like kind of like not full nudity, but like adult content in here. If you're a like 17, 18-year-old, you're probably most likely fine. But if you're like trying to get this for like a 13-year-old, I wouldn't recommend there. But besides that, it's a good story. All right, last but not least, one of the other comic books that I read is The Amazing Spider-Man. This is the volume 4 issue, or 5. It doesn't say. But it includes issues 19 to 23 of The Amazing Spider-Man. Again, this is from 2022 and 2023 era, and it's still going on now. I do get some of the issues that are coming out now, so I can collect them, but I have to get some of these to catch up with the story. So I read 19 to 23. I can't say anything bad about The Amazing Spider-Man. I'm loving The Amazing Spider-Man series. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so I think it's kind of easier and kind of biased on this. The stories in this one's pretty good. Kind of relates back to him and Mary Jane. I guess they had an event that happened to him about a year ago in a story. Not in real life, but in a story the year prior. Something big happened, and it's a villain, and it was a kind of sticky situation. And then in this one, it's supposed to be a year after, and that villain's giving them issues again, and it's kind of like a deja vu thing that they're trying to relate to. But what it is more of like, oh, this is what's happening, but it's kind of similar to what happened before. What happened before will tell you, and that's what 19 to 23 is explaining. That, well, going back to like, oh, this was happening now, but let's do a flashback from a year ago. I really like it. I definitely recommend it if you're a Spider-Man fan. It's actually really good. First issue, you have Peter and the Black Cat in an issue together. They go on vacation to try to get away, because in this story, Black Cat and Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, are trying to date in the real world and try to see how that goes, even though they're like heroes, and Black Cat's not really a hero or villain. She kind of just does her own thing. But in this series, she's kind of helping Spider-Man. But they're like, let's get a vacation, let's go do let's get away from the hero stuff and kind of be normal people. But while they're on vacation, of course, stuff happens, so they can't get away from it fully. But then the following issues is when they, like I said, they meet up with Mary Jane and go back on what happened before. So I definitely recommend this. With this issue 1923, this paperback, I rate it 5 out of 5 for sure. Amazing Spider-Man's a great series. So that's gonna be all for the read that I read. There is another big book that I've been reading. It's a classic Spider-Man issues that I got gifted. I'm not gonna go over it yet, just because I want to finish the whole book and possibly even just do a video on that one separately by itself when the time comes. So that's all for the reading list. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know in the comments below what you guys read. If you guys have any more questions about each individual comic, or if you actually want to do a full talk about it because you want to discuss it, let me know. I could possibly do a separate video and kind of do it it's gonna spoil stuff, but go into what I think further into it and what happens and stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments below. Like the video. Sorry if my voice is a little off. It is a little late when I'm recording this. A little bit tired, so I'm gonna go ahead and just finish it off here. Let me know if you guys are enjoying the whole weekly updates. Again, let me know in the comments what you guys read, or if you have any recommendations, let me know. And if it's something I can read either digitally on the app, I can do that, or if it's something I can get my hands on physically, I'll try to do that as well. Again, I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.